nombre del Padre, el Hijo, y el Espíritu Santo. Padre nuestro que estás en el cielo, santificado sea tu nombre. Venga los frutos de tu reino y hágase tu voluntad, así en la tierra como en el cielo.
In 1986, we remodeled our centuries-old church in San Luis. And it was such a wonderful success of the people just again coming together to do this very large project that after they were done, they wanted to keep going. So some of the men start talking about building a shrine, building the Stations of the Cross. And I wondered, why are they insisting on the Stations of the Cross? And it wasn't until later that it dawned on me that they were reflecting deep aspirations, historical aspirations of the love of the Passion of Jesus that had been passed on from generation to generation. Because the penitentes have a tremendous love of the Stations of the Cross.
During the Lent, every Friday, we come in and pray the Station of the Cross and the Rosary at night until the Semana Santa, like now, for 3 weeks, Holy Thursday, Wednesday, Holy Thursday, and Holy Friday. And then Saturday morning, we do it again, we pray the Rosary.
There was a local man who was born and raised here, Roberto Mestas, living in Colorado Springs, that I contracted with to make the bronzes.
I never dreamt in my wildest dreams something like this could happen here, actually. But it took a man like Father Pat to not only have a vision, along with some local individuals, but to have a vision that something like this could be here.
Many of the places in this area have some kind of a Good Friday procession, and Capulín is another example of that. Their procession started, I think in 1992 was the first year, and it's only actually a mile long. But what they do is they begin at the cemetery, which is a mile from the church, and at the cemetery everyone gathers, and usually there's a couple of hundred people that gather, and one person is Jesus, and he is robed, he's dressed as Jesus might have been. There are two usually young confirmation students who are the soldiers, and they carry the crown of thorns and the nails for the cross and the hammer. And at the cemetery, the cross is put upon Jesus' shoulders, and there's singing. "Were You There" is sung with 2 or 3 verses.
Participants are pretty much randomly picked. We try to get a different variety every year. Our soldiers and our Virgin Marys and Veronicas, they're pretty much the confirmation students that we try to get them involved with the community so that they better understand it.
Makes me realize what Jesus took for us.
This event is very spiritual and enlightening for me and for the whole community.
Very honored. I was very honored to be asked to play Jesus. It made me really look into what he gave for us when he suffered and died for us.
The church that existed in Conejo since, well, it was actually built in the 1860s, and then they added onto it and enlarged it several times, but it burned down on Ash Wednesday in 1926. They think the cause was an electrical fire. And when it burned down, the interior was totally gutted and destroyed, but the facade where the bell towers are, that front part remained, and some of the walls remained. So the people began to rebuild, and they incorporated the existing walls, what they could save, and they incorporated that into the new church. And then over the years, in 1930-something, in 1943, they made other additions. So the bell towers that you see out there now don't look like the towers in the original church exactly. The Encuentro, as it's celebrated today in San Antonio, comes out of a tradition from the Penitente Brotherhood that goes back a couple of hundred years.
Jesús cae bajo el peso de la cruz.
The tradition, it comes out of the Bible. It's the meeting of Mary and Jesus on the way as Jesus is going to Calvary. And so Jesus is carrying the cross, and then along the way he meets Mary. And you can imagine the sort of feelings and the intensity of emotion that would have been a part of that meeting. In the way that they do it in San Antonio, one group starts at the Morada, and the other group starts at the church. The group coming from the church carries an almost life-size statue of Mary. And the group that's coming from the Morada carries an almost life-size statue of Jesus that are very beautiful. They're dressed in clothes, and they are carried to a midpoint where the two of them meet. And then there is dialogue read, and the dialogue is in Spanish.
Tiene que pasar, no llores, mi tierna madre.
Hijo de mi corazón, hijo querido del cielo.
And it is poetry, more or less, and it's dialogue between Mary and Jesus.
We can't forget that spiritual dimension of humanity. And among our people, we've had a tried and true vision of practicing our faith and how our faith is expressed in our love of each other. And those values are here to teach our kids.